a moment to reflect and pay honor to this great civil rights, not only civil rights, but human rights leader. Dr. King, along with many others, shaped and changed not only the American South, but America and the world on issues of race and equality for all. As we take a moment today, we are reminded not only the strides that were made, but how we must continue to push forward to make a positive difference. And how today's speaker will share with us how you can turn tragedy and grief into positive change. Now, we do have a brief program today. After me, you will hear college greetings from Dr. Timothy Beard. We have another special greeting following Dr. Beard, along with Dr. Davina Jones, who's introducing our speaker. After our keynote, we will have a brief question and answer session. So without further ado, I'm going to ask that Dr. Beard offer greetings on behalf of the college.
Good morning, everyone. Let me just say welcome to all our engagees or participants today. Special greetings to our keynote speaker, Miss Sybrina Fulton. And I just want to say that we are really touched by your presence today. Having the courage to share your pain and your progress over the years have really taught us a whole lot here in higher education. Our students, our staff, our college as a whole, our board of trustees, and the constituencies of Hernando and Pasco County. We do indeed welcome you to this great two-county area. We believe the words that Dr. King spoke several decades ago are still very prophetic. That the measure, he said, of a man, but I say of a woman as well. It's not measured so much about how they respond in time of convenience and comfort, but the mountain of a person, in this case, you, Ms. Fulton, is indicated in the time of tragedy, but yet you've been triumph. And we just want to say thank you for coming to share your pain and share your scars. Over the last 10 years, I can't even imagine what you have experienced, but I believe in some small way today that we here in the learning community will benefit from your speech and from your presence. Again, we say congratulations for being here at PHSC. We celebrate you, and certainly we believe as we continue to develop a more perfect union that we often have to look at our scars. And thank you for sharing and showing us your scars today as you continue to help make this country a better place through positive change, even in the midst of a decade of pain. So thanks for being with us. And with that said, welcome to PHSC, better known as Pasco-Hernando State College.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Beard, for those words. As you all can see here, we have over 180 participants in this Zoom, along with several watch parties. And we have people from literally all over the world here. And I would be remiss if I did not recognize at least one person that we have on the line that is joining us from Kumsi Air Force Base in Korea. And that is Colonel Anthony Mitchell. Colonel Mitchell is a physician with the Air Force. And again, he's joining us from Korea. He's busy there serving and protecting us, but we are thankful that you're taking a moment out of your, it's not day, it's night where you are to be with us. So Colonel Mitchell, would you like to say a few words, please?
Thank you very much. I will make it very few words and just let Ms. Fulton know that our team and their people, our eyes are watching from all over the world. And on a day that we remember, I like to sort of remind folks that in remembering, we're basically putting back together things that have been torn apart or taken from us, and those who've suffered inequality and injustice. And in remembering, we show vigilance, we show determination to make things right continually, and to honor Dr. King's legacy and ensuring that justice is there for all of us. So thank you for sharing your journey and your message. Know that the world, people from around the world are watching and are glad to be a part of this. Thanking Mr. Bowie, Dr. Beard, for allowing us to be here to participate in this event today. And we're glad to be here, and thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your words, and thank you again for your service that you're providing for all of us and for all of our freedoms. We are greatly appreciative to all that you and our military and military families do for us. We will now have the Special Assistant to the President and our speech professor, Dr. Davina Jones. She will introduce Ms. Sybrina Fulton.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's still morning. We are just a few minutes away from afternoon, but greetings to each of you. Thank you again, Colonel, for your service. All of the military men and women that serve this country, put their lives on the line. We are absolutely grateful. Greetings to you, Dr. Beard, our college president. Thank you for your leadership. And of course, Dean Bowie, thank you so much for creating this opportunity for all of us here at PHSC, all of our community friends in our area and around the world. And of course, again, to our media, thank you so much for giving highlight to our commitment to make sure that we all give our best in this journey of humanity. Well, I have the special privilege and honor to introduce Ms. Sybrina Fulton. Sybrina Fulton is dedicating her life to transforming family tragedy into social change. Since the death of her son, her 17-year-old son, Trayvon Martin, during the violent confrontation in 2012, Ms. Fulton has become an inspiring spokesperson for parents and concerned citizens across the country. Her book, co-authored with Tracy Martin, Trayvon's father. There we go. The book is titled Rest in Power, The Enduring Life of Trayvon Martin, where they share the intimate story of a tragically foreshortened life and the rise of a movement that awake a nation's conscience. The publicity surrounding Trayvon's death and the ensuing trial catapulted the country into national debate. And despite the intense struggle of losing a child, Fulton has become a role model to many by turning her grief into advocacy. An honest and relatable speaker, Fulton always looks forward to sharing her powerful message with everyone from colleges and legal professionals to community and family organizations and all other proponents of social justice. A Miami, Florida native, Fulton graduated from Florida Memorial University, where she earned a bachelor's degree in English. She's a proud mother of her children. And she worked for the Miami-Dade County Housing Development Agency for over 25 years and is a member of Antioch Missionary Baptist Church in Miami Gardens. Ms. Fulton, it is our pleasure to have you here to share. We're going to turn the clock over to you. You have about 20 minutes to share with us, and then I will come back and lead us into a Q&A. I'll have some questions for you, and then we'll have one of our other college staff members to survey our chat and see if there are some questions there. But welcome to Pasco-Hernando State College.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I look a little funny right now because I'm under the weather. I'm a sunshine girl. I'm from Florida, and I had the opportunity to go to Illinois for Dr. King, another Dr. King event. And by it being, so cold there, I came down with something and I don't know what it is. I've been tested for COVID, but I'm going to make it through. I'm used to battling the storms, and I'm going to make it through. I'm having problems with hearing out of one ear and a sore throat, but I'm still going to make it through. So I just want to start off by saying, thank you for inviting me. The thing about it that I want people to know, and hold on, got this. That I want people to know is that nobody is so different from the next person. Nobody is so out of the loop from the next person. We're all in this together. And so when things happen to one family and doesn't happen to another one, everybody needs to be involved. Everybody needs to support and participate. And so I'm going to start off with a quote from Dr. King, and it says, "The time is always right to do what is right." And so a lot of times we start off on the wrong track, but then it's not so hard to get on the right track. And so I would encourage anybody to just make sure that if you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing and you know it, just start off by getting on the right track. Monday, as we celebrate Dr. King's birth and remember him all over the country, it was a day of service for me. It should have been a day of service for everybody to just try to help out and be a service of your community, whether it be a hospital, whether it be young people, mentoring young people, whether it be in your church. Just, it should have been a day of service. And if it wasn't a day of service and it was a day that you actually relaxed, then you kind of owe this to Dr. King to have a day of service. I'm going to say that. So a lot of people always ask me, how did I get involved in social justice? How did it all start? Well, I can tell people that it took my son being shot down in order for me to stand up. I wasn't an active participant. It's something that I'm trying to encourage people to do now. Don't wait until it's at your front door. Don't wait until something happens to your loved ones, your family, your friends, in order for you to participate. If you have an opportunity now, please, I would encourage you to participate. So let me just tell you how average I am and how average I was. I am from Miami, Florida, which I still live in Miami. I have worked for Miami-Dade County for over 25 years. I worked in different departments, but my last tenure with Miami-Dade County was in the housing department, working for no income and low income residents. And I was just living my life. I would take my kids on vacation every year. I would save money, straighten my credit. I had one house here, one car, one job, and I encourage my boys to do a little better in the next generation. Meaning, if I have a bachelor's degree, they needed to get a PhD, or they needed to get they needed to, just further their education as well. And if I had one house, they needed to get two houses. If I had one car, they needed two cars. And so I pushed my boys in that direction. My older son, everybody knows who Trayvon Martin was, but I have an older son named Fulton, and he's very laid back. You can probably find him somewhere, just maybe reading or somewhere relaxing, because he's very laid back and he's not so much involved in the movement as I would like him to be, because he's a little shy sometimes as far as speaking. But just an average life, just would come home from work, turn on the news, start cooking dinner and fuss at the boys about getting a haircut and doing their homework and cleaning up their room, like an average family, an average mom. Tracy was very involved in their lives. And so I can't say, oh, well, their dad was absent. No, that is not the case here. He was very involved in their life. Although we were divorced, he was still very involved in their lives. And so I could not have prepared myself for what the trauma and tragedy that I was about to experience, for the journey that I was about to take. I could not have prepared myself, even though I did meetings with the housing agency. I spoke to different people. I organized, I coordinated, I managed, I did all of those things, but nothing could have prepared me for the fact that my 17-year-old son was unarmed and he was followed, chased, pursued, profiled, and murdered by a neighborhood watch captain. There's nothing that I could have done to prepare me for that. I thank God that I'm still in my right mind and I'm able to think properly. I'm able to function properly. It was only God that carried me through that, because I really don't believe me as a person would have been able to, endure that storm. I don't believe that I would have been able to. I truly believe that it was God's grace and mercy that helped and carried me and continue to push me to this day to talk to other people, talk to other families, talk to teenagers. I do a lot of speaking with teenagers, and I just truly believe that the passion I have for my son and just being a spokesperson for my son has led me to be a social activist, a community activist, even a writer, a producer, and all of those things. It was my son voice being silent that made me speak up. And so I'm very grateful to that. As you know, Dr. King was a Baptist minister. And so a lot of things that he did and said were on the biblical sense. Of course, he practiced nonviolence, but I think the most important thing that Dr. King supported was human rights. It's good to have animal rights, and it's good to have civil rights and women's rights and children's rights and gay and lesbian rights. It's good to have those things, but we got to get back to the basics in this country with human rights, with just respecting who our neighbors are, with just respecting who we are as individual people, as individual communities. We have to respect that. And right now, I think the country has gotten to a place where the respect is lost. And so I've always, patterned my activist life after Dr. King, because I felt that it's important. I don't think that you should tear up your own community. I don't think that you should burn down stores and just do things that are destructive, because destruction brings on destruction. And so I really believe that, through Dr. King's teaching, and if we ever want to follow a great icon, that Dr. King is a legend. You can't get any better than that. And I think that is one of the things that I truly remember from growing up and following Dr. King, is the fact that he practiced nonviolence. Yes, I say that we should rally, we should protest, we should write letters, we should run for office, we should make sure that we're voting and make sure that we're registering people to vote. We need to make sure that we're doing these things. But by the same token, I don't believe that we should be practicing violence and we should be trying to shoot and kill each other. Because if I shoot and kill someone, I'm no different than the person that shot and killed my son. And so I know for a fact that my son was unarmed. I know that he wasn't committing a crime, but we still had a 28-year-old man that was following him with a loaded gun, that chased him, that profiled him, and that ultimately killed my son that was 17 years old. And so I just think about what Trayvon was thinking at the time in the mind of a 17-year-old who he was not paying attention. He was on the telephone with one of his friends from Miami, and he wasn't paying attention to his surroundings. Something we always tell our kids to do is always pay attention to your surroundings. And I think that what happened was it caught him off guard. He really didn't know why this man was following him. He ran at one particular time, and the man chased him again and ran after him. So he really didn't know what was happening to him and why it was happening to him. But needless to say, he never made it back home. And that's something that I encourage kids to do. Don't try to talk things out at the scene. Make sure you get home to your parents so you can talk to your parents and tell your parents what happened, and they can fight it in the legal setting, in the legal arena with an attorney. And that's how you do things. You don't try to challenge the police department and try to challenge authority when you're in school and different places, but you try to make it home safely, like Trayvon was trying to do. And so I really respect, our young people, because they are getting really involved. And I think it's our young people that are resilient and that's going to make the change that we want to see. I don't believe it's my generation. I don't believe we're going to be the change that we want to see. I truly believe that it's our young people that's going to make that change and make sure that this country is moving forward. I work a lot with Minister Bernice King, which is Dr. King's daughter. They do have the King Center in Atlanta. We have spoken at some events, some of the same events, but I'm in communication with her. And surprisingly, we're honoring her this year at the Trayvon Martin Foundation event, which is February 5th and 6th. And so I'm watching the work that she does. I'm watching the work that a lot of people are doing, but certain things touch me and make me want to, just keep going, even though there are times that I want to give up. So I don't know how much time that I have, but I can talk a little bit about the foundation and talk a little bit about the things that's going on as far as with the trials that we're seeing. I do see some progress in this country. However, it seems like every time we take 2 steps forward, we end up taking 1 step back. I give 2 thumbs up to the fact that the person who killed George Floyd is in jail, currently in jail, and will be in jail the rest of his life. I give 2 thumbs up to the 3 guys that chased Ahmaud Arbery and shot and killed him. However, there were lives lost, and we can't, we need to remind ourselves that lives were lost. Even though these people are being convicted and they're going to jail, the life was taken, and it was taken in a horrendous manner. And the families have to suffer the fact that their child is changing the country, but you have to deal with the fact that you lost your loved one, and you have to deal with that the rest of your life. It doesn't go away. And so I just wanted to, just give that message that it could be any one of us that it happens to. A lot of people think that, okay, well, that happened across the street, that happened in another state, that happened in another city, but it could very well be in your household. And I wanted to encourage you not to wait until it happens to your household. And so I really believe that, we are moving into a direction. And just like Dr. King said in his I Have a Dream speech, we want to move into a direction where we're seeing progress, where we're getting along with each other, that you're not judged by who you are, but you're judged by your character. And so I just honestly believe that we have to move in a positive direction. We have to move into another dimension of what's going on, because we're definitely in a storm now. We're definitely, weathering the storm with not only COVID, but unemployment and a whole wealth of things that we're going through right now. But we definitely have to weather the storm, and we have to weather the storm together. So I'm going to take, I guess, questions or whatever, and I'm going to say, to end this conversation, I want to just say that the time is always right to do what is right.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fulton, for sharing with us today from your heart. I hear a mom speaking. I hear a mother speaking. I hear a neighbor talking. I hear a human talking from the heart. And I think that's something that we sometimes miss out on. We just get into the story and forget that we're talking to a sister, a mother, an aunt, a grandmother, and so forth. So thank you so much for sharing. We are going to facilitate a Q&A in just a moment. But first, let me say to you that there are special greetings on your behalf from your sorority sisters from Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and all of the Divine Nine that serve publicly. And so many of you know, there you go. Many of you know that these are institutions that have made a life, or organizations rather, all of the Divine Nine have made a lifelong commitment to serve and not to wait, but certainly situations like this, they bring us more so into the service and the commitment. I've often told my students, generally, you don't join Mothers Against Drinking and Driving until you've experienced it. It's just kind of, you know, that rotation of life. So thank you so much. We do have students here in our Zoom. I have some students here in the boardroom with me. You can't see them, but we have students that are here. They had the option to just watch virtually. They're waving back at you. They had the option to watch virtually, but some of them say, no, we've been virtual watching and we've been cooped up. We're ready to get out and be involved. And so they decided to join us here on campus. So we have some of those students with us as well. In a little bit, we are going to take some questions from the chat, and I'll introduce Delaney Allen, who's going to assist with that. I desire to start here with you. I've had an opportunity to start reading your book. Those of you that haven't read it, Rest in Power. It just reminds you again of, this is just a human story. We are all humans having an experience, and you've done such a beautiful job in this book with your former husband and Trayvon's father. So thank you for putting this on paper to encourage us in our journeys. One of the things that struck me, I have about 3 questions, and then we'll go to the chat, and then I'll end with a final question. When we start talking about the life of Trayvon Martin, we start advocating in regards to the life of Jordan Davis, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Eric Gardner, George Floyd. You've mentioned these names, even here in your book. A lot of people tend to think that this conversation is an immediate conversation that's anti-police, that's anti-American. And what I discovered in your book is that I saw that your biological father transitioned in life when you were of young age. He was a longshoreman in Miami. And then your mother married a police officer when you were a little girl. You were raised by a police officer. I desire to give you space to just talk about how this is not an anti-police movement. You were raised by a police officer.
Well, I was surprised to hear that I didn't like police officers when, one, my son wasn't killed by a police officer. It was a neighborhood crime watch who was a wannabe police officer. The second reason it was amazing to me is because, yes, I was raised in a household with the police officers. So my views on police are probably not what people think. They think, okay, well, her son was killed by a guy who was supposed to be a police officer or whatever, but it didn't matter. I grew up with a police officer in the house, and I was, you know, it was an honor to know that he came home every day. It was an honor to just say that, oh, my dad works at the as a police officer and my mom works at the post office. It was like an honor to say, you know, because I had 2 parents in the household, you know, and I just have a different view on police. I just really believe that they were there to protect and serve. That was my view because that's how I was raised. That's how I grew up. So I didn't know any different. I didn't think that police officers just get up in the morning and say, I'm going out and shooting and killing. No, most police officers are thinking, hey, I just want to get home safely. If I can arrest a couple of bad guys while I'm out, you know, doing my job, then that's fine. But they don't wake up in the morning and thinking I'm going out to kill some people. We do have police officers that are biased. We do have police officers that like one group over another group. You know what I mean? But I don't really believe people wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to kill people. It happens. And those are the bad officers. And we have to acknowledge that those are the bad officers. I don't have anything against police officers. I want them to make it home safely.
But even just the way you phrase that, I want them to make it home safely. Again, your book just does this over and over again, where you bring us back to humanity. This is just not a story on the news. This is life. This is your life. This is Trayvon's life, your family's life. And it's all of our lives to the degree that it takes all of us. A shout out to the It Takes Us series here at Pasco-Hernando State College. But it really does. And that's a part of what you've started to even echo in your message.
So I want to say this. You're reading the book now. Once you read the book, you're going to be intrigued. There are going to be some things that you're going to want to know about. So I'm going to encourage you to graduate from the book when you finish, and then watch the 6-part series. It's a docu-series that Jay-Z is the executive. Well, I should correct that. Sean Carter, not Jay-Z. Jay-Z is a concert person. Sean Carter is the executive producer on, it came right from the book, and we did a docu-series, a 6-part, but it's very hard to watch.
Well, it's befitting that we have a homework assignment because we are an educational institution. So that's befitting that we have this homework assignment before us, and thank you for that. My next question, here again in the book, right here at the introduction, you start off with the scripture. For all that is secret will eventually be brought into the open, and everything that is concealed will be brought to light and make known to all. Luke 18:17. What gives you the faith, the courage to believe that we can do better, and that we do better, and will keep doing better, and that truth will prevail? What gives you that courage that truth will prevail?
Well, I just truly believe that, the Bible says that faith is something that you really don't see, right? And so you don't see it, but you feel it, and you know it's going to happen. And just like changing of times and changing of generations, I really believe it's going to happen. I don't see it physically in front of me, but I know that it's going to happen, and I know things are going to change for the better, and I know that we're going to progress. That scripture just tells you that things that are done in the dark will come to light. I really believe that. I believe things that people try to hide and conceal, that eventually God is going to pull the cover off of them, and you're going to truly see who they really are. And so I surfaced that on when I was going through everything, and I still am on my journey. I had a scripture that I used to meditate on day and night. And it's Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not unto your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. So that tells me that even though I don't understand everything that's going on, I have to trust in God. So I don't understand why this happened and why that happened and why that happened, but I have to trust in God. And I wholeheartedly believe in that, because I come from a good stock. I come from people that just don't go out killing people and causing harm. I was raised by having a good life. And I tell people I was happy 95% of the time. So when this tragedy happened, it's like, is this happening now in America? Like, this was 2012, like in America, like you can have a 17-year-old that's unarmed, and you can have a 28-year-old man that's chasing, following him. Why? Why did he feel like he had the authority to stop my son? Why did he feel like he had the authority to question why was he in that development? I mean, I guess some people don't understand it, but people of color are making huge strides. They're progressing and they're achieving and accomplishing so many things. So why was it strange for him to be in that community? And so I just thought about a lot of things, and I thought about why all the whys, but God said, don't worry about the whys. Just trust me. Trust me, just believe in me. And this is one of my, I think I'm just a ministry in order to be able to talk to people, because as you know, this is not the first time that somebody's child had been shot and killed, that was, and people was not held accountable for. This is not the first time. It's just God gave me a platform, and he wanted me to speak about it. And I was reluctant at first, but then I said, it's a reason why this happened. I don't know why it happened, but it's a reason. And so I have to use my voice. I have to use my platform. I have to step into my mommy's shoes and say, okay, my son is not here. I have to speak on behalf of my son. And that's what gives me the passion. That's what gives me the drive. That's what keeps me moving forward. That was keeps me sane, and just be able to talk to young people, because you have a lot of mothers that cannot, that will not, and it's all about who's the spokesperson. So I'm not saying I'm the spokesperson for everybody, but you got a lot of moms that are not able to.
Your passion, it rings, and it's clear. Certainly at the college, we support an ecumenical concept. Everybody gets an opportunity to practice and discover and faith as they choose. But I asked that question because it was so evident while I was reading your book that faith was center for you, that it was that you had it right here. And that's why I asked that question. And I asked it because I remember having a conversation literally here in Pasco County with a middle school teacher a few years ago. And we began to talk about the Trayvon Martin case, and the Trayvon Martin case. Is interesting the way I phrase that. And he said to me in that classroom, the students had walked out, but he said to me in that classroom, Trayvon Martin was killed because he had on a hoodie. And I said to him, Mark Zuckerberg wears a hoodie and he's still walking. And he was silent. And so your voice matters. Your voice matters as mommy. Your mommy voice matters. And so thank you for sharing your mommy voice. I did have one other question, but I'm going to pause and I may come back and end with 2 or 1. And so I'll kind of, I'll measure that out. But I do desire to introduce Delaney Allen. Delaney Allen is a coordinator of our student life and leadership. And she's also our former statewide Florida College System Student Government Associate President. So she's been up and down from here to Tallahassee and here to Tallahassee. working on behalf of students, understanding the power of voice, understanding the power of engagement. And so she's here to assist us today with some questions that might be sitting there in the chat. So Delaney, what questions do you have for us from our PHSC community and so forth?
Thank you for that introduction, Dr. Jones. We have one question here from Douglas. It says, can you talk about the work you and the other mothers with similar experience have been doing together?
That's easy. I have 2 things. I bring these mothers together every year after Mother's Day, and it's called Circle of Mothers. It's on our website, but it's called Circle of Mothers, and it's about mothers who lost children through senseless gun violence. That's how was my target group. But now I have mothers who car accidents. I have Eric Garner's mother in the chokehold. It's like everybody is the illnesses and everything. It just means you lost a child. And so I do that every year. It's about healing mothers and empowering mothers. And so that's how it actually started for us connecting, because there was no group like that in 2012 when Trayvon was shot and killed. And so it was a dream, just like Dr. King had a dream. This was my dream, the Circle of Mothers. And so I got up in the middle of the night and I started writing, and it was almost as if I had already attended the Circle of Mothers. And I had purple, like I got on today. I had purple on, and I was talking to these mothers, and I was like, oh my God. And that was it. I bring these mothers in every year, and it's about empowering them, because we feel so helpless and hopeless and disappointed when something happens, and we feel broken, and we kind of mend those ties back together, patch things up when it's other mothers that, we can lean on, that we can talk to, that we can cry with, that we can hug, and all of those things that women do that men don't do. We do it at the Circle of Mothers. And so we already had a group that comes together once a year, the Circle of Mothers. And when Hillary Clinton ran for office in 2016, we were invited to meet her in Chicago. And she had about, I want to say about 12 moms there from different walks of life. And we talked about politics. We talked about, and she didn't have somebody sitting at the table writing notes. She was writing notes, and she already was briefed on each person's case. So she knew exactly what we were battling, what we were going through, what we were struggling with. And so she had conversations with us, and we supported her because she supported us. And so that makes a big difference, you know, with women, as you know, when people support us, it means a lot to us. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen to men, but it really means something to women, just to have other women to support you. And so we started the Mothers of the Movement. And Mothers of the Movement came from the political arm of Circle of Mothers. And so a lot of people are making, you know, they having their own organizations in their community. I'm very close to the moms that's in New York, because I'm there a lot. And so I'm very close to them. And I know, you know, in different areas like California and Texas and everything, they're changing laws, they're improving laws. They are, we have things down here that voters registrations and different things like that. But we just do things that are positive to try to bring the communities together and just try to make a difference. And so with anything, people say, oh, I don't know what to do. Just do your part, do something. You got to do something other than just like something on social media in order for you to say you're an activist or a participant even. You got to do something more than just read an article and comment on that article. You got to do something more than that. And so that's our something more. You know, we're very passionate about what we do. There a lot of moms are going to be coming here to Miami. Trayvon's birthday is February 5th, which is actually the 10th year anniversary of his life being taken. And so I don't celebrate his death, I celebrate his birth. And so we're going to have a big event here in Miami. I'm going to invite you all out to come out. It's called a Peace Walk and Peace Talk. It's you wear your sneakers and a t-shirt and you walk a short distance at this park. And then at the end of the, for the Peace Walk, we have that the purpose of the Peace Walk is to let people, young people, to know that not only Trayvon, but they have a right to walk in peace without being followed, chased, pursued, profiled, or murdered. And so we send that clear message out. And at the end of the Peace Walk, we have like very motivated people to come out and sing and read poems and just talk to our young people, just talk to the community, because you got to look past what you're going through in front of you. You got to look past all of that and just know that things will change and that a brighter day is coming. And so that's our Peace Walk and our Peace Talk. That's going to be here February the 5th, which is Trayvon's birthday. Oh my God, it's been 10 years. I don't even know what to do. Trayvon was 17 at the time. He would have been 27. And I just don't know what to do with myself. So I'm just trying to, you know, piece this event together. It's very hyped up. We have the bands there. We have the radio station there. I mean, it's a very hyped up, and to me, it's a inspirational event. It's not a sad event. It's not an event where you have these balloons and you let these balloons go in the sky and the person is bound to cry. No, I don't want to cry. You know, I want to celebrate the fact that I'm still going and my son is still going and Tracy is still going and we're still fighting and we're still speaking and we're still supporting other families. I know that was a long time, huh? It's okay.
You deserve it, honey. You deserve it. You deserve to let that mommy voice come on through and advocate for all of humanity. Delaney, do we have another question? I think we have time for at least one more question, so we'll gauge it.
We do have another one. Dr. Ailes said, can you expound on the importance of getting involved in the movement?
So I always tell people the truth because I'm about the truth. And I did not get involved. Like I said, I didn't get involved until my son was shot and killed. I can tell you that. And that's why it's so important to me that you don't wait until something happens to your child, to your son, to your daughter, to your cousin, a family member, a friend. Do not wait. Participate now. Get involved now. It doesn't matter what you do. It just matters that you do something of service. And by being in a sorority, it's required that we participate in something of service. And so I just believe that, you know, every time, you know, things happen and you wait and then you contact people afterwards, we need to be proactive and not reactive. We need to make sure that we're doing things on the front end. And so I would tell people to get in touch with a nonprofit organization. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Trayvon Martin Foundation, but that is fine too. But just connect with a nonprofit organization. It could be the NAACP, it could be the National Action Network, it could be the Urban League, it could be whatever organization it is that's nonprofit, that's fighting for the same things and benefits that you want to see a change in. And so it could be you helping out with a newsletter. You could put door hangers on somebody's door. You could pass out things at the mall. I mean, it's so many different jobs, but you would have to start off by first connecting with a nonprofit organization. And so I'm going to also suggest that you guys put the Trayvon Martin, because I do want people to see some of the work that we're doing, and the information about the Peace Walk is on there as well. But it's TrayvonMartinFoundation.org.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Delaney, we'll take one more question and then I'll close us out with our last question or two, and we'll have closing remarks from Dean Bowie.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go to Cassidy. I just want to say first, thank you for sharing this. So Cassidy said, I just lost my spouse of 13 years and my 9-year-old daughter's father. His best friend killed him and none of us were expecting it. I lost a lot of hope and ambition. I literally came to PHSC 3 months after this happened. I'm still stuck between adjusting to this new life. I would love to speak to teens in my community where I am from. How do I find ambition over my grief, and how do I get started speaking?
So one of the things that I did was I had a purple room at the time in 2012, and I would just sit on the floor of my purple room and I would just cry. I just felt like I couldn't, what was I going to do? What was I going to say to help encourage anybody? I couldn't even encourage myself, you know? So I felt that way. I felt like I didn't want to brush my teeth, comb my hair, none of those things. I was like a basket case, like really. And if I went into a mental institution, people would understand. You would understand. You'd be like, okay, she lost her son. She can't function. But what it was that helped me to get from the space I was to where I am now was service again. Something Dr. King always talk about. It's about service and it's about helping other people. And it wasn't until I started reaching out to other mothers and I had no clue what I was going to say. I had no clue what I was going to talk about, but my presence there kind of helped them and it helped inspire them. And I had no clue. On the flight there, I think the first place I went was for Mike Brown. I went to Mike Brown. I went to Tamar Rice. I went to Jordan Davis, all the names that you probably heard, I'm probably connected to those moms. And I had no clue what to say, but it just, when it comes from the heart, it comes out of your mouth and you know what to say. And so I would just ask God to just search my heart and just don't show Sybrina, just show God. And the words just came out of my mouth. And I just told him, listen, I'm sorry about, what you're going through, but it will get better. I'm not going to tell you you're going to be 100% healed, because you're not. You're never going to be 100% healed. But the thing about it is you can move forward from where you are. And that's just reaching out. And what I would suggest that she does is just have a meeting of people that's interested in helping other people. And then you can have somebody else to help you to get things together as far as planning what you're going to say and planning your next event about what you're going to do.
That's the heart. That is the heart that is coming from Ms. Fulton's heart to Cassidy's heart and to all of our hearts. I have, I think maybe one kind of comment and then an ending question, and then we'll turn it over to Dean Bowie. And thank you again so much, Delaney, for sharing with us from the chat. Your work is so important because I think the work that you're doing and the work that the Circle of Moms are doing and all advocates, it is helping us to get better. I think there's going to be a lot in our homework assignment as we go and watch the docu series and the book. I think we're probably going to see a number of things there to help encourage us about the roles we can play, the things that we can do. Everybody might not feel the same lane, but I think it's going to help us find our lane. I was really also very reflective because several years ago, I had to attend a murder trial. I had witnessed a murder. And when I had arrived at the Stand Your Ground hearing, the state attorney came out to tell the family in the hallway, well, that's it. We're not going to wait to hear the judge and let the judge tell us if this is it or if it goes to trial. And I said to the state attorney, you don't need me to testify. And he said, well, who are you? And as I explained, it dawned on me that here was the state attorney leading this case, did not know he had not spoken to all of his witnesses, clearly did not read my deposition. And I thought, we're in trouble. And this was the state putting on the case. And that is not to throw rocks, so to speak, at state attorneys in general, but it is to say that we've got room to grow. We've got room to grow. And I think a part of what's in our homework is to see how much room we have to grow. With that, I'm going to offer my last question. A beautiful sister friend of mine just published a book. Her name is Dr. Kamisha Whitaker. And the book is, I think it's titled Eleanor Roosevelt and Mary McLeod Bethune, An Unusual Friendship. In this journey, and you may have already told us this, but in this journey, Ms. Fulton, what unusual friendships, what unlikely, I think that's the word that's used probably in the book, what unlikely friendships have come about for you in this journey that perhaps speak to us about expanding our friendship circles?
I would say, not only meeting at the time was President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, not only meeting them, but just visiting the White House several times. That was a very unusual experience and relationship that I can never forget. Maya Angelou would be another one. And then the one that is currently still blossoming is, of course, Hillary Clinton. I couldn't imagine, just, and she's a friend, I mean, I can pick up the phone and call her. She can pick up the phone and call me. I if I want to, know about some things, I call her, and it's strange because it's like, okay, should I be calling her? But I should, and she should, and she does, and she bounces things off of me, and I appreciate the relationship that we have. But yes, it would be Hillary Clinton, which is very strange and unusual.
Thank you so much for answering our questions. Thank you so much for sharing your heart, your passion, and your story. It has been my honor to have this moment to facilitate this Q&A, and we wish you all the best. And I think we're inspired today to put our best foot forward as well. Dean Bowie, I'm going to turn it back over to you for closing remarks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jones, for facilitating that awesome question and answer session. Ms. Fulton, it has been a pleasure today. I am sorry that you and I had to make our acquaintance just last week over the circumstances of the loss of your son, but I am grateful to have met you, and the words that you brought to us today were awesome. They were dynamic. I know they touched me along with 200 of my closest friends today that were in here listening. And I'm reminded of something that, as you were talking, one thing popped up in my mind and that I would share with everyone in closing was from a Sunday school teacher of mine when I was a little boy. Her name was Mrs. Lomax. And at the end of every Sunday, she would tell us, make someone's day today, be it with a smile, be it with a greeting, be it with a hug, just a nice compliment. And, what you were saying made me think that, there are a lot of people out there that need their days made, right? And you're making folks' day with your circle of mothers. You're making folks' year. You're changing lives and being very transformative. But I'm asking each of us today, how can we make someone's day just a little better? We're thankful to Miss Cassidy, who came and spoke or typed in her thoughts and her truth, and want her to know as well that we are here for her as an institution and that there are services that we can provide to assist her as she works through her pain. And as Ms. Fulton said, that this won't go away, but you learn to live with it and work through it. And so we want to make sure that those services are there for you. So again, we say that. Again, we say thank you, Ms. Fulton, for your time today. I am wishing Trayvon an early, happy, heavenly birthday. And even though I probably will not be able to make that walk with you all on the 5th, but I'm going to make it my business to be out there walking on the 5th in his memory. Right? And I challenge everyone else to do that. If you can't be down in Miami on the 5th, take out a few moments and get out there and post on your Facebook that you're walking for Trayvon's birthday on February 5th. I challenge everyone to do that. Is that all right with you, Ms. Fulton?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you all at our next event.
Thank you.
Thank you.